Hello everybody, welcome back to Social Club once again.
What?
Let down by the north. So the boys down here at the south are stepping in. We've also been let down slightly in terms of football news, but don't worry, Man United and negative Man United press is always there on hand. When they're not winning games.
Well, it's amazing, isn't it?
So we're going to be talking about Romelu Lukaku, who couldn't keep his mouth shut.
Yep.
And has decided to come out with some interesting quotes, Sam.
Upsetting for you.
How are you? How are you, first of all?
I'm fine. Cheers for asking.
Yeah.
You?
No, I'm alright, but how are you in this current Man United climate?
If we beat Newcastle 3-2, it's fine.
They won the last game.
Has this been the most kind of succession of bad news stories that have been released in a row since you've supported?
No.
Well, what's worse than
I don't
what's
know.
going on?
I knew you were going to put me on the spot there straight away. But
Was the Van Gaal period worse?
That was. We went through December where we lost 3 games. That was what we lost to Norwich. It was like that. We didn't win a game in December. And
All right.
9 games.
Let me ask you another question. What's been the least enjoyable period since Ferguson left? Has it been 1, Van Gaal, or 2, David Moyes, or 3, Mourinho? Which manager have you hated the most?
I think Moyes is still quite easily number 1.
Right.
Like by some margin.
Yeah.
Van Gaal, he was likeable. He was just a bit. It just didn't work. And then Mourinho, I'm in the midst at the moment.
Do you think Lukaku would want to have played for him?
Of course he
Van
would.
Gaal?
Why wouldn't he?
Probably not.
Why wouldn't he?
Create chances, did they?
I don't know.
That wasn't there.
Well,
That was
United.
He doesn't seem to want to play for Jose though, does
True,
he?
yeah, nice link back. Well done there, Flav. So he's been chatting to, Lukaku's been chatting to Gazzetto. So this is what he said, okay?
Right.
Damning, it was.
Well.
He said, I could barely get it out. Why not? I hope it happens.
Done.
Damning.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Proof.
What do you mean?
Proof that he wants to
Is
go
that
out.
it?
And in particular, this is where it's interesting as well, is that he's talking about Ronaldo and Juventus in particular. He's saying Juve have a great project in place and they just keep going. Every year they try to get stronger. Without doubt, Juve are one of the best 2 teams in Europe. They've got a great coach on the bench and extraordinary players in every area of the team. Cristiano Ronaldo stands out. But watch out for the others too. Paulo Dybala is already impressive and getting stronger, while I love Douglas Costa.
Yeah.
He is loving a bit of Juve. And in particular, talking about Ronaldo. So does that mean that Lukaku fancies a move? Because it's not been going well for him this season, has it?
He's scored like 7 in 7 prior to the last international break for club and country. So I wouldn't.
4 in 11.
Well, it's 4 in 11. 4 in 11. Well, maybe the last 11. But Lukaku. Say I've become fucking desensitized to what footballers say.
Fucking desensitized.
I honestly don't give a shit anymore because of all the stuff I've seen with Paul Pogba. It's bollocks to try and get romantically involved with a player anymore. Not romantically involved. Probably the wrong way. Probably the wrong word to use.
Mate, I'd happily get romantically involved.
Unless
But anyway,
Clint Hill,
don't get fucking emotionally involved anymore because they just do this sort of shit to help themselves.
Oh right, so
That's
hang on.
it.
So you're turning on the player, not the press.
Reeling.
Who's
No,
to
because
blame it?
I'm bored of getting annoyed with what Paul Pogba says in the press. But I wouldn't mind the move to Barcelona. He's not saying yes or no. He's just helping the wheels keep fucking turning. They're the grease and they know it.
Okay.
And there's I said there's no point in getting annoyed. I just got really annoyed. For it.
Yeah.
Quite good.
I mean, you could have a player like Azar who said, I would never force a move to Real Madrid.
I want to move to Spain. Let me go there and win the Ballon d'Or.
Don't know if he said that.
I'm pretty sure he did.
We aren't direct
But if
quotes
he-
like these.
But if he's asked a direct question like that,
Yeah.
do you want him to answer truthfully? Because I tell you, on this very channel, we spoke to Rory last week about about Hazard going, look, it's always been my dream to play for Real Madrid. He was quite happy with him to be honest and truthful about, look, at some point he wants to play for Real Madrid. Is there any harm in Lukaku and other players being honest?
We can't, because we all, as fans, get pissed off with how media-trained players are very bland, very beige quotes to the press. So when they come out and they're honest about it, you can't then complain about them being honest. And anything he said there isn't too inflammatory. Ronaldo is great. Juve have smashed it for the last 2 years.
Most of that isn't inflammatory, but the first answer, I hope it happens. He's then talked about playing with Ronaldo. Ronaldo's old. He ain't going to play BRU. He's going to be there, what, 2,
But
maybe 3
Pep
years?
Guardiola also said, I'd be open to a move in Serie A in the future as well. We're not talking about Guardiola, are we?
Yeah, no, we're not. But that's that's less interesting than this because we don't have a Man City fan in the office. The thing is, you're right. You don't want a kind of straight batting every answer. And I'm fine when Lukaku does it. I don't want Harry Kane being honest. I don't want any of my Spurs players being honest. You be professional, you toe the line until you're sold, and that's it. Just shut your mouth.
Really?
100%.
Okay.
I don't want to hear. Imagine Barry come out and said, don't do the accent. All right, coming out and said, you know, yeah, for sure I want to play for Juve. I'm like, Harry, shut your mouth. So talk to Pochettino in private. Say, look, I'd like a move. Don't do this bullshit in private. He only signed for Man United a year ago, and already he's talking about Juve.
All this
he hasn't even delivered.
We're playing Juve in like a week. It's the only reason that Juve's come up. Lukaku is not at any point trying to angle any move away. Vocally, he's been very supportive of Mourinho the whole way through. More supportive than maybe any other United player.
Yeah, I mean, I would be blown away if that was his intention in October, because you've got to get through the rest of the season. So why kind of put yourself in that kind of sort of situation? But that I hope it happens was either that's lost in translation or that's silly for him to talk like that.
Was it lost in translation when he gave the interview in English?
No, lost in that. His English is more minimal than someone whose first tongue is English.
All right.
This is pretty good.
Look, he's saying, look, Juve, an amazing club, bigger club than United. They've won eight. They've won 8 on the.
Trying to load it, isn't he?
They've won 8 on the bounce this year. They could well win the Champions League.
About time.
Why wouldn't he want to go to Juve? You know why? You know, at the moment, Man United would be like, gee, like it's a hard work there at the moment. You know, you got a manager who's going, you know, seems to be losing the plot. You got a captain who wants to leave, and then you've got you know, Lukaku sitting there thinking, well, Pogba's my best mate. And he said, Juve's all right.
Well, he goes, I go.
Yeah,
so, last thing I'll ask for this with the Lukaku thing. And look, I'm sure, obviously, look, the transfer is in January, so look, not much can happen now. It's just kind of, it could just be something that's just another thing that you don't need to be hearing as a Man United fan right now. But if Lukaku was to kind of, how do you feel about Lukaku? And I guess start of last season he arrived. I think by all accounts, I think generally there was an idea that it was a good season. It wasn't mind-blowing. This season, if he has a similar season, would you be that bothered if he went? Is he offering enough for Man United?
Lukaku was an injury away from scoring 30 goals in his first year. He was on like 28 goals when he got an injury towards the end, and he would have hit 30. And the last striker to do that in his debut season was Van Persie. But Lukaku's not Van Persie. I'd be happy if we sold Lukaku for 100 mil and replaced him with another great striker. Yeah. Because Lukaku is a replaceable player. He's not.
That's kind of
he's not the be-all and end-all of this Manchester United team. If he goes to Juventus or he goes anywhere else, we're going to get more than what we pay for him. We're going to get upwards of 80, 90 million. We'll replace him. Lukaku is not, unlike Pogba. That's a different conversation altogether. You can build a team around Pogba. Lukaku is not the striker that every United fans love because his first touch is poor on occasions. He's a finisher. You make the chances for him, often he's going to score. Yeah. He's not really a striker that's going to create a team like Harry Kane, who does a lot more for his team.
Do you think he commands 90 million?
Absolutely.
I think Man United overpaid for him, really.
Yeah, his stats are great, aren't they?
Are they?
Yeah, he's scored a hell of a lot of goals. I think there's a lot of players like that do score the goals, and that keeps them in these high-profile teams. Does he offer enough? Otherwise, sometimes he doesn't. But then there's other times where say Burnley, I can't remember a moment where there was just a simple ball over the top, and he's just so strong and quick that he was able to get there. He's got those raw attributes that kind of take him to another level. I think the issue than other strikers who are.
The issue though is that is there that kind of money in Serie A for them to spend 90 million pounds on Lukaku?
Ronaldo.
Yeah, and how much money are they going to make out of Ronaldo in terms of marketing, providing he gets off his case? He's going to clean up. There's £100 million is nothing for Ronaldo and his marketability. Lukaku isn't that, so they're not going to pay a comparable amount for Lukaku. So he's got to be careful, Lukaku, because although, I mean, in hindsight, 24 hours later, or whatever it is, you look at it and you think it's probably more innocent than
You'd hope so.
We're making out. You hope so.
Dumb.
It's stupid. He's an idiot. Yeah. He should just keep your mouth shut. Who knows what the future holds? But right now I'm concentrating on Man United. How hard is that? It's so easy. Just say that shit.
Okay. Right. Well, let us know in the comments below. I think we were talking more broadly there about Man United, but this Lukaku story is just another story that's kind of making it a bit.
It's just a bit harder.
Word, Sam? You got a word?
Well, enjoyment for you, I suppose. We're the entertaining.
I'm not enjoying it. I don't like you going through this.
Stop smiling.
I'm not.
Stop smiling.
Look, this is what happens, right? When you pick the best side in the club, the country to watch and follow,
you better win.
As a lot of Man United fans do, and have done. I'm not saying, look, everybody's a kid and they pick the teams they love, whatever it is, I don't care. But sometimes you've got to pay. Every dog has his day, right? Today's your dog's on his deathbed.
That's what Holloway says.
All right, and yours, I don't know where your dog is. Your dog is a Chihuahua on the hill that's ran away.
Right, lovely. Let us know your thoughts on Man United, the whole situation, this Lukaku story. Would you be bothered if he left Man United? Is this story baloney? Let us know in the comments below. Subscribe to Ball Street, click the like button if you've enjoyed it. Head over to United People's TV to check out Sam getting angry or not angry.
Actually,
it does seem to rant when he says he's not going to rant. Anyway, we hope you enjoy the video. We'll see you soon.